Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to look into one of the components of English first language, which is grammar. And under grammar, we have sentence structure. We are going to look at three types of sentence structure today, which is simple sentence, compound sentence, and complex sentence. We look at simple sentence first. A simple sentence contains a subject and a verb. It expresses a single complete thought that can stand on its own. Basically, it's an independent sentence. We look at the first example. The baby cried for food. If we look at this part, the first example over here, the baby is the subject, and we know what the subject is doing at that point of time, which was crying, and also why the baby cried, which was for food. Therefore, it makes complete sense, and it's a simple sentence without depending on any other conjunction or any other clause. Second example, Megan completed all her homework overnight. Same concept, whereby in one simple sentence without an additional conjunction, the whole sentence makes perfect sense. We look at the second part, which is compound sentence. A compound sentence has two independent clauses that can stand alone because it contains a subject and a verb and expresses a complete thought. Usually are joined together with coordinating conjunction, which are for and nor, but, or, yet, and so, which can easily be memorized as pen voice. We look at the first example over here. They spoke in French, but he replied in English. Now, if I were to omit the conjunction over here, both of these sentences can stand on its own. They spoke in French, and if I were to put a full stop here, the whole sentence would make sense. And if I were to start the sentence, he replied in English, and full stop, it would still make sense when we join both of these sentences with the coordinating conjunction. But two independent clauses are joined with a coordinating conjunction, it makes up a compound sentence. The same rule applies for the second example. The shoplifter was guilty, so he ran away when he saw the police officers. So the first part of the sentence, the shoplifter was guilty. This first sentence, I can end it there and it would make perfect sense because it's an independent clause. And the second part, he ran away when he saw the police officers, would also make sense as it is an independent clause. Now, since we are joining both of these independent clauses with one of the coordinating conjunctions, which is so, now it is a perfect compound sentence. We'll look at complex sentence. A complex sentence is an independent clause joined by one or more dependent clauses. This is the exact opposite of what we have learned earlier in compound sentence. Compound sentence would be two independent clauses. It does not need one another. We are just joining it together with a coordinating conjunction. However, a complex sentence, it consists of one independent clause, one can stand on its own, and one dependent clause, one or more dependent clauses, which it cannot stand on its own. And this time it is not going to use the fan voice anymore. There are different set of conjunction which are called as subordinating conjunctions. First example would be, after eating lunch at the Cheesecake Factory, Tim went to the gym to exercise. Now, the first part of the sentence, after eating lunch at the Cheesecake Factory, would be the dependent clause. It cannot stand on its own, which means I can't put a full stop after the Cheesecake Factory. The sentence would not make sense. The second part of the sentence, Tim went to the gym to exercise. I can put a full stop there and start the sentence from Tim. Tim went to the gym to exercise. It would make perfect sense. Therefore, it proves the point on one independent clause together with one more dependent clause with subordinating conjunction after that. So this belongs to complex sentence. Second example, she is tired because she went for jogging this morning. The same rule would apply for the second example as well for us to prove that this is a complex sentence. She is tired, I can put a full stop there and it would be an independent clause. But if I start the sentence from because she went for jogging this morning, then automatically this part of the sentence becomes a dependent clause. Therefore, with the help of the subordinating conjunction there, the whole sentence is now a complex sentence. Now, we'll look at a few set of questions for us to understand better on what is a simple, compound, and complex sentence. First sentence would be, Lily and I are friends. So, for us to identify what type of sentence is this, This is a compound sentence because of the presence of the word and there. Whenever there is a coordinating conjunction in a sentence, the sentence is automatically a compound sentence. We look at the second question. I had lunch just now. We can't really spot any coordinating conjunction. We can't spot any subordinating conjunction. We cannot really spot any independent or dependent clauses. It just makes sense on its own. Therefore, it has to be a simple sentence. Third question. Although she is poor, she is hardworking. Now, this type of sentence, if we break it down into two, although she is poor and I end the sentence there, it doesn't make sense. Therefore, it automatically is a dependent clause. But if I look at the next part of the question, she is hardworking, and I take that sentence on its own, it makes sense. So it's a combination of a dependent clause and an independent clause supported by a subordinating conjunction. Therefore, it has to be a complex sentence. Next part. We met rather few people who spoke English. If we look at the whole sentence over here, can we guess, is it a simple, compound, or complex? This is a complex sentence as it is combined together with a relative pronoun which is who. Last but not least, you can either come with me or walk home. If we look at the whole sentence over here, this has to be a compound sentence due to the coordinating conjunction or. That's all for today. Thank you and keep practicing your simple, compound and complex sentences.